Okay, so this is kind of like a take two. I did this last week, but my phone messed up some of the video clips and there was no fixing it. So we're back with a new phone, new day. Let's just try this again. Hopefully I won't mess up names like I did last time or anything else. Anyway, so to start off with, I'm going to do my pets first. So this is Blair. She was my very first leopard gecko, just one I got from PetSmart back while I was in college. Anyway, she's just a little hypo carrot tail. She's probably running on about 6-7 years old. I can't remember anymore. So she went through most of college. She's technically got an associate's degree, I guess, if you go by terms of time. But yeah, so she's just a little pet. She just hangs out. She lives in the kitchen, so she'll watch us move around. She usually likes that kind of stuff. She likes the activity. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next once I figure out all the cups over here. Here, Blair. And just bear with me while I go through the switch here. Try to make this as easy as possible. I want to try to see if I can make this video a little shorter. Alright, and then 2 weeks after I got Blair, I got Zilla, who's just a little trimper albino. Now technically she is a breeder quality animal. I got her from a local breeder. But because she never really wants to break 43 grams, I'm not very comfortable with breeding her. She's not underweight by any means. I've been told by some breeders if she's not underweight you can breed her, but I'm just not comfortable with that. That's kind of scary. She's kind of a finicky eater sometimes too, so it just kind of added to it. So she's just going to be a pet too. So we're going to do the next one. Put your tail up. There you go. Alright, and then the following year I got Salem from Petco, I think. She's just a little Mac Snow. In my opinion, she's one of the nicer Mac Snows I've seen. I just like the lighter yellows and a lot of purple. She's just kind of a nice looking little thing. She's very chubby, but she only eats what everybody else gets. It's just some of them packing on more. But she's also just a pet. She just kind of hangs out. Got a small handful of those. We'll go on. Oh gosh, okay. Alright. Sorry about that. There was a guy coming over to the little medical clinic that's next to me, and I'm sitting out on my porch. Didn't want him to think I was just talking to myself. Anyway, so to move on with the pets, this is Sirius. He is actually a retired breeder. He's a rainwater albino blizzard. I tried to breed him this year to a couple girls, and both of them ended up laying duds the whole year. So we're just gonna retire him, unfortunately. I got him fairly late, I think, in his age. The girl didn't really tell me how old he was, so there's no telling. So he's probably just a little old. I even watched him breed these two girls, so I know it got done. It's just something isn't right. So we'll just retire him, and he can just live out his little life as a pet. I have a friend that'd be kind of upset with me if I got rid of him, so he's probably going to stay here. But that's Sirius. Come here, buddy. Alright, and the last of my pets is my fattest gecko. This is Gemini. She's my little paradox or chimera, whatever you want to call her. I got her, gosh, I don't know, 3 years ago, I guess. So, she, if you look, you can see the super snow on her nose right here. It's white and black, and it turns into albino. And whenever she was a baby, she had a big white spot, and it had all the black dots in it. But it all filled in with yellow as she got older. the other thing she's got going for. She's got one albino eye over here, and then she's got a normal colored eclipse eye over here. Usually she'll close that albino eye when we're outside, but I'm out in the overcast. It's actually getting ready to rain, so it's not bugging her as bad, but she's kind of neat. She's just a little gem in the collection. I bring her out to some of the shows and stuff, like when I do educational stuff. A lot of people like looking at her. So she's just gonna chill out here. I tried to breed her once and it just didn't work out. So she's just gonna be a fun pet. So I'm gonna pause it here and then I'm gonna go get the next set of geckos. Alright, to move on, I'm gonna do my fascio crosses next. They're the biggest part of my collection, as it turns out, that I learned from the last video. So this is Obi. He's an F1 fasciolatus cross, which just means that he is a direct offspring from a pure fascio. So his mom was a pure, and then his dad was a Max Snow raptor, I believe, giant raptor. Because he is actually a giant, and then of course he's 100% het raptor. So he's a fairly big boy. He measures about, I think he's like 10.5 inches, if I remember correctly. So he's actually the dad to all my F2s that I have. I have 4 of them that I kept from last year. But, it started with him and the next girl, so I'm gonna move on to her. So get him put up. Come on, dude. Alright. And then here's Satine. She's the female I got with him, so she's also a giant F1 fascio het raptor. Not a whole lot to say about her. She's currently laying. She's laid a few clutches and then she paused and now she's kind of going back at it again. But she is kind of on the smaller side of my giants, but she still weighs out to be one. She's also produced a couple super giants last year, I think. Yeah, they did. I had one, at least one. But yeah, so that's her. She's one of the crazy ones. She's definitely got the wild streak in her. Really. Sorry, I'm trying to rush and beat the rain. I just wanted to get this done. I already did it once last week, like I said, and that didn't turn out too well. Alright, and this is my next F1. So all 3 of these are siblings. They were all direct descendants of a fasciolatus. So she's a Max Snow. She's not a giant. So this is Wildest Dreams, but she is het raptor like the rest of them. She produced a lot of eggs this season. She produced 7 clutches. All of them were fertile. All of them hatched. She's technically ovulating, but I don't think she's going to lay again. And I'm not going to repair her to try to get that last clutch out. I'm going to leave her alone. I think 7 clutches is just fine to be done with. She does have a regenerated tail. That was just something that happened last year. My vet thinks it was a spider bite, but I've heard a lot of people say, like, nah, it wouldn't be a spider bite. So I don't know. All I know is she was fine. I was sitting in the closet, and it's not like I was moving around. I was literally just sitting in my closet, which is where the geckos are. It's a big walk-in closet. It's technically like a big room. I guess I can't really call it a closet. I was on my phone, and the next thing I know, she's over there freaking out, whipping her tail around. And then I came home later that night, and it was swollen, red, and stiff. So we were advised to have her drop it, which she did very quickly whenever we touched it. So she grew it back. She's doing fine. She eats great. So that's all that matters. And we'll go ahead and move on to the F2s. Alright, these two I'm going to show together because they're technically the same morph. So these two are F2 fascios, so they're daughters of the last gecko I showed. They're Max Snows, possible giants, but I don't think they're giant. at all. Trimper albino, possible head eclipse. So yeah, they're full sisters. I think they were actually clutch mates too. For a while there, I was hatching clutches that had two of the same thing both times. So as far as these guys go, I think later this season I'll probably be selling this one. This one's Annie, and then that one's Sasha. But since they're both the same, I really don't need to have two. But we'll see. I've been thinking about it just to save space. I have a lot of geckos and not a whole lot of room. But yeah, so we'll move on to their sister. Come on, ladies. I'm gonna startle them there. Alright, and this is their full sister. So she's an Max Snow Eclipse. Also possible giant, but I'm not really sure she's a giant either. And then she's possible het Trimper albino. So I just bred her to my raptor male, so we'll see if she holds out with that head or not. But I kept her just because she was really neat looking. She's got that stripe down her tail. She's got a lot of nice yellows, I guess, and the purple was nice looking to it too. So I was originally going to breed her to my Enigma, but that just didn't work out in the end, which is fine. Either way, I'll be happy with whatever I get. But yeah, so we'll move on to the last F2. Also, I keep forgetting to say their names. That one's name was Levi. She was supposed to be a male, and she turned out female. Alright, so this one, I never renamed from my themes. So usually when I hatch babies, I have a theme to go by, and it's always based on the mom. So if they have the same mom, they all have the same themed name. So this one was from a Harry Potter theme. So her name is Hermione, and I never changed it. I kind of want to, but it just never happened, so it's probably going to stay that way. She is a F2 giant, possible super giant, possible het raptor. I did not breed her this year just because I wanted to see how much she would grow. Usually whenever you breed them, you stop their growth, you kind of stunt it from all the hormones. So I kind of left her alone. She's definitely a giant. But I wanted to see if she could reach that super giant or not, and we'll just see by next year. So far, it doesn't look like it, but she's definitely a giant. And then next year, I'll breed her probably to my F1, or I'll see what happens. But that is all my fascios, so I have 6 more geckos to show, and I'll bring them out in just a second. Alright, for the last set, we're going to start off with my white and yellow Total Eclipse Enigma het Trimper male here. He's the dad to most of my little ones this year. He was bred to quite a few females, and then he dropped a lot of weight. And he had another female I was going to breed him to, and I decided not to do that because he has finally started eating again. So basically what happened was, he stopped eating the entire time he was breeding. Even after I stopped introducing females, he wasn't eating for a good 2 months or so, 2 or 3 months. So he went from like near 60 grams to down to like 45. So he's starting to pack it back on. He's about 50 grams now, I think 50, 55. He eats a lot better now, so I didn't want to breed him to the late ovulator just because I was afraid he'd stop eating again. So we're probably just going to hold off breeding him until next year if I do it. I don't think I'll be breeding Enigmas again next year, but I am still going to keep him just because A, I like him, and B, he's still a good Enigma to breed. Obviously, he has no Enigma syndrome. Even with his eyes shut, he's having trouble with the light. He's not really showing anything. So he's still a good candidate for breeding. But that is Love Game. That is his name. His dad's name was Bad Romance, so I kept with the Lady Gaga theme. Because I wanted to, and I'm not very original. So. Oh, I gotta put him down. I can't open the cup. Okay, now we can go back. Come here. Put your tail down. Alright, and then my other Super Snow. This is Sage. She is a Super Snow possible Het Blizzard, and I'm thinking it's very likely she is Het Blizzard. Some people say that you can tell a Het Blizzard because of the amount of spots. They'll have a lot of extra spotting, and I'd say she has quite a bit of extra spotting. She's almost black when it comes to her color. When she goes into shed, she looks like a blizzard. And I mean, like, before she goes milky and her skin's hanging off, like, whenever she goes dull. So we're actually testing her out with my raptor male, which I'll show him last. He's Het Blizzard, so there's that 1 in 4 chance of proving her out. So it'll just be a little fun breeding, I guess. I just wanted to find out whether or not she is. So we will see. She's been paired a few times. It doesn't look like she's gravid yet, so we'll probably still pair her for a little while longer and hope for the best. She was technically one that I bred to my rainwater that didn't lay any eggs. So I kind of fattened her back up, and by the time I got her back up to her normal weight, she's still ovulating. So I just decided to try. If she doesn't lay, she doesn't lay. Oh well, we'll try her next year, but I figured since she's good enough body weight to lay again, I'd give it a shot. So we will see. Come here, girlie. Oh, sorry. Come here. Alright. And then next, we have Soul, who is a Pacific Green Blood Tangerine cross. He's 50% Het Trimper, and I bred him to one of the F2 girls this year to see if I could test him out, and so far it doesn't look like he's Het Trimper. Also, I haven't really been that big into tangs, so he's the, well, not really the only tang I have, but I'm not really sure I'm going to continue breeding him. I'm keeping him around just in case I decide to have a change of heart. But, yeah, I may not be producing tangs in the future. I just don't see the point in trying to compete with the PetSmart down the road when they produce the same exact thing and charge nearly over half as much as I do. There's just no point. They're super common. People don't really want them all that much around here anyway, so I'm probably going to nix that, but he's going to stick around as a pet. I've had him since he was itty bitty, so I don't feel like I want to let him go. At least he'll still be around if I decide to add a little color into a project or something, whatever I decide to do. But that is Soul. Come here. I thought his tail was stuck, so I didn't want to just turn away. Alright. Alright. And here is Synthesis. I got her name wrong in the last video. I called her by my friend's gecko's name. It is Synthesis, because I got her around whenever my favorite band let out their newest album, and the album was called Synthesis. So, anyway, she is a Firewater Red Stripe cross, possible Het Eclipse. She was one that I bred to the Blazing Blizzard, and also she did not lay any good eggs. So I have been waiting on a trade with another gecko breeder to see if she'll produce any typhoons or any rainwaters for Eclipse, so I can at least test her out for that. So far I haven't heard anything from her. Fingers crossed she'll get something. So we will see. So she's kind of on pause. I've had so much trouble with the rainwater project, but I don't want to give up on it just yet. I just bought her. She's super pretty. I don't want to let her go over some bad luck. It's just been one thing after another. So we will see. Hopefully next year I'll have some rainwaters. We will see. Come here. tail down. Alright, now we're going to go into my raptors. So this is Jinx. She's a reverse stripe raptor. I bought her from an expo up in Nashville about a year or so ago. She was sold to me as just a Tremper albino het eclipse, or possible het eclipse. But she is an eclipse. I brought her home and looked at her the next day and saw that her eyes were completely solid black. But the breeder still didn't really believe me, but oh well. She is a raptor though. So I tried to breed her this year, and for whatever reason she just wouldn't produce any eggs. So I'm not really sure what happened there. So I let it go, and then fattened her back up again, so now she's ready for breeding season again whenever she decides she's ready. And I'm going to pair her to a different male this year, and hopefully it'll work out this time. She does have a few little things that happen during incubation. You can see she's got a little bit of an eyelid crinkle on both eyes. And then the other thing that she is currently hiding is she's missing a toe on that foot right there. So some weird little quirks, but as far as I was told, it was just incubation. She's got some cocoa fiber on her back. That's not a paradox or anything. So we will see. I really would like to produce some raptors from her because she's super, super pretty. The camera doesn't do any of the color justice on any of these animals. But we will see. So we'll move on to the last gecko before the rain sets in. I have been racing it this entire time. It almost makes me worry because then I'm going to mess up my words. And I can't annotate it on YouTube anymore because YouTube nixed that for some reason, because YouTube is becoming very dumb. Anyway, this is my last one. And this is Valerian. I just got him a couple months ago, maybe more than that. It had to have been more than that because his quarantine was 60 days. Anyway, so he is a Max Snow Raptor Het Blizzard. As you can see from, like I said before, where blizzards have extra spots, you can see it all on his tail and such. So, I am test breeding him to Sage, or testing Sage to him, whatever, for the blizzard, and then I'm going to just go ahead and use him for other projects such as Diablo Blancos. So we'll see. I wasn't really super interested in Diablos, but since I have him, I might as well have fun with it. So he is actually fairly big. He is the biggest gecko in my collection, but he is not a giant. He outmeasures my true giant male by about 2/10 of an inch, and he outweighs him by about 10 grams. So he is a pretty hefty boy. See if I can pick him up a little bit. So I mean, he's a big guy. Super sweet though. That's all that matters. Anyway, so we'll see. Hopefully I'm getting some babies from him this season. I went ahead and bred him to the Eclipse F2 this year. And it looks like she has some eggs in her, so we'll see. And then also, like I said, I bred him to Sage, but I don't know if that's going to happen this year or not. But next year I'll have quite a few girls to pair him to. But anyway, so that's all of my current breeding collection. I do have a Black Knight coming in soon. I'll probably do a video on her, like a little short or something, I don't know. And then also, I'd like to do the babies here soon. I'll probably do them indoors, just so I don't freak them out too much. And then also, eventually, I'll do one on the snakes. I do have 14 snakes now, versus back when I had 2 or 3, I think was my last video. So, it's exploded a bit here. If you have any suggestions on videos, just let me know. I can always see if I can do it or not. Advice, anything. I'm always drawing a blank on these things, but I can always try to dish out a video if need be. So just let me know. So thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing some different babies. Hopefully I'll show the next, or the babies here in a little bit, and then next year hopefully we'll have some really, really nice babies from them too. So thanks. Bye.